So this is me working with Plato on picking up his front feet. One thing I want to address is that a lot of people struggle with this because they have a tendency to just kind of quit and give up before they actually get the response they're looking for. So if the horse pulls away, paws, does anything besides giving the foot, they just tend to quit asking, and then that leads the horse to believe whatever behavior they had done, i.e. maybe pawing, is actually the correct answer. So we end up teaching our horses incorrectly because we release at the wrong time. And what's really important is that we stick to the horse, whether they're moving, pawing, whatever. You want to stick with it until you get the response that you're looking for, or at least a try within the right direction. And then you're going to release and reward that try. And that'll help let them know that was actually the correct answer instead of the behavior that you really don't want, pawing, pulling, those sorts of things. Obviously, you want to keep yourself safe. If you don't know what you're doing and your horse is really difficult about this thing or kicks or is dangerous, then you definitely want to reach out to a professional for some help. There are various methods you can use. A lot of times I'll start with a rope to teach them to give their foot pressure. However, Plato is pretty used to being touched all over, and the previous owner had attempted picking up his feet, but because he would paw, again, she never quite got the correct response out of him. And that can lead your horse to just being generally confused, too. So we just want to give them that clarity and what the right answer is. And the way to do that is by giving the release at the proper time. And your timing is going to be absolutely everything when you're really trying to teach a horse, especially a feral or green one who doesn't know the right answer from the wrong answer. So it's our job to kind of help teach them that. So you'll see through this video that Plato offers a few different things like backing up. He's really sensitive to pressure with my body language. So that's another thing he tends to misread a bit, and we're working on. And then he also offers a lot of pawing. So we just, again, have to kind of stick through that until he at least thinks about starting to lift the foot, give the foot, those things. You'll notice he has a tendency to keep his head low, especially in this video, but maybe in some of the others. And I'm not sure, but I think this may be a previously taught behavior. However, it could also be his way of just being a little avoidant and trying to check out as well. So this is a thing I'm going to continue to keep an eye on as to when it happens, how it happens, and kind of gauge things from there. He obviously has some form of prior training. You can tell by how well he follows on the halter and lead, and those sorts of things. But he's obviously feels uncomfortable still with quite a bit of human interaction, which you can tell by his general demeanor when I'm really asking something of him. However, he doesn't seem to be mean. He doesn't kick, bite, anything like that. So whoever may have done this previous training, I think may have done, a decent job with him. But there were some things that were either skipped, not gotten to, or lost in translation as he went from home to home. So Plato actually was rounded up in Utah, and somehow his paperwork shows he has been to Kansas, possibly Nevada, Georgia. He ended up at an auction where he was picked up by what some people may consider, horse dealers. And then a friend of mine purchased him from there, wanting a bit of a project, but I don't think they realized quite how much of a project he still was. They realized that they were a little overhorsed with their knowledge and skills and the setup that they had, and at that point reached out to me to try to offer this horse a little bit of further education, set him up better for any future he may have. Because even if there is previous training involved, again, some things seem to be lost in translation. Whatever method that they may have used might not have been a typical pressure release type deal. And so therefore going about things with a different method is kind of him just having to relearn it all over again. And really, if a horse doesn't understand the basic things that we need to make sure we go back and revisit and clear up that communication with them so we can all stay safe and our horses can get the care that they need, such as farrier work. Plato is about 8 years old. He is a BLM Mustang. As I said, he came out of Utah. That's where he was rounded up. He has a beautiful dun. He's got a dorsal stripe and some leg markings. And we're working at his feet rather quickly because even though they are not totally overgrown, the shape of them isn't really great. And that can, of course, affect the rest of his body, his movement, and those sorts of things. So it's a thing I really want to get sorted out as quickly as possible without rushing him. So that way we can keep his overall structure, physical structure, in a good condition that's usable for him and us if we choose to work it. If he's in pain due to these things, then we cannot blame him for acting out. You'll see here at the end, I'm taking off his halter. He does not seem to flex or bend very well, especially to pressure. So this is another thing we're working on. Every time I put a halter on or take it off, I'm trying to ask him to kind of flex into me so that way he gets used to that